Welcome back, everybody, to Talk Around Town with Mr. Scott Hall and me, Geoff Edwards. How's everybody doing? How are you, Scott?
I'm doing good, Geoff. How you doing today? Episode 3,
I
man.
know.
Great.
Knocking them off, checking them off. So hopefully everybody's liking it. So if you guys do like it, make sure you subscribe and comment below on what you want to hear us talk about, because we can ramble on and on and on about all kinds of stuff. So, What do you guys want to hear?
All that social media, man. Hit the social media everywhere.
That's right.
Instagram, the Insta,
and Facebook, all of it.
And Facebook and YouTube channels.
So
as well. Yeah. So, how you been? You doing all right?
Hanging in there. Just this weather is. I'm not a fan of the cold, so I do love that it's sunny. I love the sun is great and it's warm. And this is a better winter than many other winters. So I will, knock on wood for that. But I'm not a fan of winter. I'm ready to move somewhere where it's nice and there's salt water and sand between my toes. And that's ultimately what I want to do. But
that'd be nice.
We'll see.
I was there for about 4 or 5 years. It was nice and good time. But, back a week or so ago that we had some warmer weather. It was nice. So, who knows? We'll see what the winter holds. Maybe it'll be a mild one, and we'll get to spring, and everybody will be smiling again. Get rid of this COVID stuff and move on.
I know. So
I'm ready.
Ready.
So what's on the chat box today? What'd you pull out of the box? I mean, we've got all these topics. You just you have anything for us today?
Well,
Jeff?
One thing that people have asked, and they asked us not long ago with Route 88 was, how did you guys come up with that? So like band names. And where does it stem from?
Oh, that's good.
So
I like that. Yeah. So where'd you come up with Route 88? I'll throw the question at you.
Well, Route 88, Rob and I actually started it. He and I were in Shadow Life, and we were looking for another project, just something different. And he's been in rock bands since the 80s in the Dayton area and all over. He used to tour. He used to be a sound guy for Blessed Union of Souls, and he used to tour and do all kinds of stuff. So he's been around for quite some time. And he was talking to somebody saying that we were starting this new band. And the guy's like, gosh, he's like, how many bands you been in? Is this must be your 88th band or more, right? And so from that, funny. I said, well, we wanted to go a different route with music. Or I should say route, right? So we wanted to go a different route with music. And the one thing that he's never done and I've never done was country. So this group originally started out as being a primarily country band. And then once we started getting everything together, then we started bringing in some yacht rock and some just rock, and we'd put our acoustic spin on it and different things like that. And so we came up with Route 88 being the 88th band that Rob is, he's probably been in 88 bands at this point of his life. And the route being, we're going to take you on this music journey all over. So we're not just focused. We're not just a rock band. We're not an 80s rock band. We're not a hard rock. We're not all country. We're a little of everything. So we just twist and turn down the music highway of Route 88. So that's where that came from.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say Route 88 because that's what I call it. But I've heard people say Route 88, and it just doesn't have the same swing.
I think
I don't know.
I think it depends on where you grew up and what you say. So
it was always Route 66, the big the highway thing that everybody traveled. So I thought, well, it's got to be Route 88. But that's a cool story. I like that, and I'd never imagined that. If I was to say, here's how I think they picked that name, I would have never come up with that at all. And
that was
funny.
it.
And Rob you're right. Rob has played in so many bands. He's such a talent. And he's a cool guy, cool guy to know, and he's gets his sound stuff down too. When he's doing sound for people, I've seen him, and he's got it down, man.
He does. He's got so much sound gear and equipment and everything. He's actually got other people that work for him. They'll call Rob to run sound, and he's got 3 or 4 other people that he can send out to run sound. His son, Bo, he is a fantastic sound engineer. I mean,
I saw Bo doing Spongeworthy one night down at Heather's, and I see Bo occasionally down at Parts Express as well, and he's down that way, and it's fun to run into him. He's talent too, man.
And Rob,
And he's kind of silent but deadly.
he is
He's a
he's
quiet
very
guy.
quiet and reserved. It
Yeah.
takes a lot to really get him to open up. And then Rob used to be the same way. When Rob started running sound for us on occasion, I mean, it was probably 5 shows before he said 5 words to me, you know.
Right.
And then we would just start talking gear, and then that was it from there. And then he filled in a couple of times with Shadow Life, and then eventually became, part of Shadow Life, and then split off now and with Route 88. But yeah, they're both
He's all
really
business.
talented
He's a
guys.
businessman.
He is,
Yeah.
yes. So
It's awesome. Well,
we should
yeah,
definitely
this is
have
a-
him on for an episode. He can give you the behind the scenes of not just as a musician, but also as a sound engineer, and then also as because he used to tour with big national acts back in the day. So
Yeah, you mentioned Blessed Union, and a week or so ago I did a trivia and music trivia, and I played a Blessed Union song, their big hit, I believe, and it was in Cincinnati, where they're from, and about half the people had no idea who that was, and I was a little saddened by that. But I got to give them a little age differential too,
This is true.
because there was a little girl there who played all night who I mean, I had an 80s round and a 90s round, and she was born in 94, so she wasn't
she probably didn't know any
exactly up on that music, but it was fun. And it's funny how people forget, though. Even they hear that song and they're like, oh, I love that song, and they don't remember who it is. And
yes,
that was interesting. But band names are cool because we've got just locally here. Let's think of some of the band names locally that I think are creative as all get out. And one of them, Until Rust, we talk about them, Rob and Shane. That's an interesting title. And I think everybody we have on the show, we should ask them how they got their band name. I think it'd be good. And you know a bunch of bands around town that
you got Spongeworthy and Velvet Crush, and I mean, just
and a hugely creative one. Which, if you talk about branding and you want everybody to know your band name, you want them to remember that band name. Well, every time you turn on the TV set, if you're watching a network station, you hear, and tonight at 9/8 Central.
Yes.
This show is on. I mean, you talk about getting your band name out there every single day.
Right. So can they get could they get royalties off of that every time somebody said that?
If they become like national superstars, I don't know, man. But that's one that always caught me as a great creative band name, and I don't know again how they came up with it, but it would be interesting to find. And then you get the guys that use their own name and they're just a solo act or whatever, but some bands really get creative. Brian Scott's band, Saints Among Us, and
right.
There's some really cool names out there. You have any that stick out to you?
I mean, I used to be in a band called 9V, and our logo was stick your tongue on it, because that's how you check a 9V battery, is you put your tongue on it. So that was our tag. It was 9V.
Don't try that at home.
It'll only burn for a minute. But no, that was it. I mean, you think about all the music gear, all pedals and guitars and everything else, they always take 9V. So you're always checking it to make sure it works.
That's awesome.
So
that's cool. I like Flash and Top Secret. That's a good one. I think
that's a good one.
Date's Best Kept Secret. That's one that I love to see. And Locking Up Otis. If you're old enough to remember the Andy Griffith Show, they used to lock up the town drunk Otis for the weekend. He'd get out and get drunk. They'd lock him up for his own safety, give him a place to stay and a few meals in the jail. And that guys are called Locking Up Otis that play around town, and that's a fun one. Lots of mixtape. I can go on and on here. Linus Tate
is
another one that's out
from.
Yeah. That's Alex Poteet.
Right, but I mean, I know I've heard of the band, but isn't that from? Is that Peanuts?
Oh, maybe the Linus from Peanuts. I don't know. We'd have to ask Alex. We'll have him on too. We'll have everybody on. We'll just make all these little squares. It'll be like
the videos that you see everybody talking about. They posting pictures of their office meetings with 100 participants.
Yeah, and our friend Rick Amberg.
Yes.
Rick. Rick writes a blog for Country Music Views, and he was on the other night on The Voice. He was in the virtual audience.
Really?
He was one of the squares up there of the people on The Voice. I thought that was kind of cool for him. And so Rick does a lot, man. He knows so many people in the music biz, country-wise, and down in Nashville. And He's an excellent writer, and also he produces Warren County Online News,
Oh,
which is a little digital newspaper, and we feature our Who's Playing Out segment every Thursday in it, that people can go to and see a written format of who's playing around town. So
cool. I have to put a
that's
link
fun
of that
stuff.
down below as well, so that way people can
Yeah.
find that and find out what's going on. So,
And if they miss the show that we do on Thursday at 5, they can find it online over the weekend, and it helps people plan for what they want to do. So that's cool. But I still want to stay on this band name thing. This is a cool topic, and I'm glad you came up with that today. I was playing around here as you were talking about Route 88, and I pulled up some different bands, some rock bands, and how they got their names, and we'll chat about that. But anybody else locally you think that it just has that hammer name that everybody's going to remember? I
oh
like the
man,
short. I like the short band name, so people it rolls off when you hear it, like Truck.
right? It's just easy
Those
to
guys,
remember. There's
yeah,
not a lot to it. I got a buddy of mine's, and I got some friends in the band called the Temps.
right.
They're a big party band. I don't know. I mean,
And
there's just so many bands around. So
Dave Moody's band that travels does the ACDC tribute called Thunderstruck. I mean, it just rolls off. But Truck I like because they use that slogan "Truck Yeah" as their slogan, and
oh,
that's a good
nice.
catchy little thing. And
That Arena
just
Rock Show.
oh
So
yeah,
you know
I mean
what you're getting, right? You know what you're getting with
that
the
says what
title.
it is. Yes, it
So
says what it is, and it is an arena rock show from the '80s, man, and or '70s, '80s, '90s. They do it all,
they
but
do.
those guys are phenomenal.
Yes, I remember when they first got
Phenomenal.
everything going, and man, they have come so far.
Oh
So
yes, yeah, I saw their first show, and boy, now it's a production.
it is.
I was telling them, I said, boys, you're young enough, move to Vegas, get a residency. There'd be a casino out there that'd pay for that. They'd pack the house every night.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially
Yeah,
that type of music. I mean, there's still a
yeah,
following for it, especially in a place like that. Oh yeah,
yeah.
you,
Huge demand for it.
huge.
But they've all got jobs too, and it's hard in the music business when you have gainful employment and then you love to play music. It's hard to separate it, and you get to the point where, oh, I could play 5-6 nights a week, but then if it dries up, then you're out of that work, and
And then you got to go back to
got to go back to the
working somewhere.
start over again. Let me look here. I got something cool. Let's see. Oh, Led Zeppelin. How about Led Zeppelin?
You
Now,
know,
why would they be called Led Zeppelin? You think?
hmm. I mean, that was before my era, really, when they all. So I don't know.
Well,
You might have to fill me
it's
in on this one.
it's such an iconic band, but guitarist Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin was putting the band together, and the members of the Who were giving him a hard time, and they said that his band would go down like a lead balloon, and hence,
The Zeppelin,
and that's a British phrase,
right?
going down like a lead balloon, and hence they turned it in from balloon to Zeppelin and called it Led Zeppelin, and the rest is history.
Wow,
So, bam, another great name in the bag, man. That's awesome.
that
That's
is.
awesome. I got a few more. Let me look
What
here.
else you have there?
I've got a Rolling Stones one. Interesting. And guitarist Brian Jones was looking around a room when they were doing some recording and saw he was on a phone call with somebody looking around the room and saw a Muddy Waters record laying face down on the floor, and he picked it up, and the song named Rolling Stone popped up on that vinyl album cover, and he said, oh, that'd be a good band name. So the rest of the band loved the blues and Muddy Waters, so they accepted the event as fate and made it their band
And
name.
that's it.
Cool history.
Yeah.
I love looking back on this stuff, and and I've heard so many interviews with bands where they'll say, oh, we made our name in a day, or it took us 4 years to get a band name. It
Right.
took us longer to get a band name than it did to record the first album. And did you guys kind of toy with it with Route 88? I mean, did it take a while, or did you?
No, that one was quick. That one was just. I mean, that one came out and it was done, and we're like, "Yep, like it. That's great. Okay." And I went out and got the Facebook pages and everything else, and and
You had some other projects in between, some things going on. You had a band called Untold Glory.
I did. That was
And, was
that was an acoustic, trio. So
right. Mm-hmm.
That one we tossed around for a while, couldn't really come up with things, and had a whole laundry list of names. And finally, I just said, "This is going to be it," and done. It was a conversation that just kept going on, and it kept going back and forth. And I finally just I threw a handful of them out and said, "These are the ones that we've talked about. What do you guys think?" And they kind of tossed a couple things, and I'm like, "This is going to be it." And so just kind of made an executive decision.
Right.
So
I was doing a show with a guy who puts on a play about Purple Heart recipients, and it's called Beyond Glory. And I did an interview with him, and every time I came to that, I just stopped the interview 3 or 4 times because I said "Untold Glory," thinking about your band. It just had stuck in my head. But yeah, I thought that was a cool name, and Shadow Life, great name. I mean, for a band, I thought to just it was one of those. It was unique, and it stuck in
it
people's
does.
head as kind of a one word thing.
And the way I think that came about is the story, because I was with them. I joined them in 2016, and at this point now they've been around for 12, 13 years, and they said that they all had day jobs, like everybody pretty much does, and this was their shadow life, that they were kind of in the shadow, and this is their different life in the shadows of playing music and being in a band. And so that's how that name came about. So
That's neat. See, there's so many stories. I love the stories like that because, again, most people that hear that name would never, ever know it. And I saw the Eagles on stage once, and they said they were changing their name from the Eagles to the Assisted Living Tour because they were all old guys at that point. I thought that
that
was
is
kind of
funny.
creative. I've got ACDC up here. ACDC. Now, think about that name. And that can go a lot of ways. I mean, that in the old days, there was a connotation about somebody saying you were ACDC or this or that. But Angus and Malcolm Young founded that band in 1973 without a name. They had no name for the band. And their younger sister was working on her sewing machine in the house when she noticed an ACDC abbreviation for alternating current and direct current. And she had always thought that the band was full of energy, so she mentioned it as that would be a good name for you guys. And it
And then that
stuck.
was it.
Yeah. And they switched out the forward slash that was on the sewing machine with a lightning bolt, and now have the fifth best-selling album of all time,
Wow.
AC/DC. Yeah.
I kind of I
Rock
kind
and
of
roll,
thought it
man.
was something to do along the lines of electricity and current, but you know, now it's
Well,
confirmed.
there you have it.
So,
Green Day. Wonder, yeah, referring to a green plant that they love to smoke. Pretty simple. They made a quick decision and went with
there
it.
you go.
All worked out pretty well. There we go. And Leonard Skinner I have up here too. And I think a lot on people know
I
that
think I've
story.
heard that one, but I can't recall
Yeah.
it off the top of my head.
They their high school gym teacher was on a crusade that the boys couldn't wear long hair, and he wanted them to have short hair. So his name was Leonard Skinner, Skinner. And to mock him, they called themselves Leonard Skinnerd, adding a D at the end, eventually changed the spelling, likely to avoid future legal problems with the teacher. But apparently, they've become friends with the gym teacher, or did afterwards, and they would invite him to local concerts and introduce him to the
That's
fans
funny.
as the band's namesake, Mr. Leonard Skinner, the gym teacher. That's hilarious.
Well, I mean,
So yeah, there's a whole lot of them, on my list.
I was
Go
gonna say
ahead.
we could
You
go
were
on and
saying?
on and on about band names and where they all come from, but that would be great to get some of the guys on here or girls on here that and tell us, how Short of Stable. There's another one. How did they
Yeah,
come up with that? What made you think of that? So yeah, have some other
yeah.
people on and
Shifted fate.
get some get some other insight as to where everybody came up with these songs or these names. So
Because everybody's a motley crew.
this is true.
You have a motley crew in
A
your
little
band.
bit.
What people call them sometimes. Yeah, that's how Motley Crue got their name. Motley Looking Crew. Somebody said.
And
Told
they
them that.
just
I think it was another band, White Horse or somebody. I remember. I can't for the life of me remember it now, but I remember that story. That's how they stuck with Motley Crue. Was Motley
and
Looking
then all
Crew.
the different names that all the bands have gone through, before they
Oh
became
yeah.
famous. But
That'd be fun to do. See what the earlier band names
it's one of
were.
the things about Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. When if you've ever seen that movie Back and Forth about the Foo Fighters, and he talks
Mm-hmm.
about, he's like, if I would have known that this would have gotten this big, I would have put a little bit more thought into the name. So, because he didn't really care for it that much. So,
I I like that. But yeah, there's so many. I mean, there's so many famous bands out there, and we could go on forever. One that stuck with me that I read though earlier was Nickelback, and Chad Kroger's brother worked at Starbucks, and Chad from Nickelback would go through the drive-through, and he'd buy $1.95 coffee, hand him or $2, and he wanted his Nickelback every time, and that's how they named the band. So pretty crazy stuff.
that's funny.
Nickelback, yeah. Just little tidbits, man. Things to talk about, Geoff Edwards.
Oh, that's right, Mr. Scott Hall. If we can keep this
What else we got? Anything?
camera going on here.
Is my camera acting up?
It's
still,
acting up, and your sound is screwing up. Hopefully, it doesn't come across in the recording, but maybe we can
We'll see.
tweak it a little bit. But no, I think that's pretty much it. We've been chit chatting here for a while, and hopefully, you guys once again are enjoying this. We just started this thinking it would be a little fun. We'd love to start having some more people on, and want to know what you guys want to hear and what you want us to talk about. So, hit the subscribe button. Send this out, share it with people, hit the bell icon so that way you get notified whenever we upload a video. And let us know in the comments what you want to hear us talk about and who you want to see. Let us know who you want to hear from. So,
Perfect.
You have anything?
Absolutely. And no, I just want to thank everybody for watching episode 3 here of Talk Around Town. And we're glad to have you with us. And thank you for your support. Remember to share the stuff with people, too. If you have music-loving friends or people just like to hear people chat while they're working out in the gym, they can be bored with us for a half hour or so.
And we will be bringing you an episode dropping out on Christmas. So that way, after you're done opening your presents and having your eggnog in the morning just to get through your day, check out our episode,
Yes.
our Christmas episode. So that'll be coming out on Christmas Day.
Bourbon, remember.
That's right.
That gets us through Christmas.
That gets us through anything.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Scott. We'll see you.
We'll see you, Geoff. Thank you.
Bye-bye.